What if I told you that the most important battle of our time isn't being fought with weapons or even with laws, but with ideas, with narratives, with belief? Today, the future is being reshaped under what's been called the Great Reset, a reimagining of global systems in response to crises like the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and economic instability. But beneath the surface of policy shifts and technological transformation lies a deeper philosophical war, a battle over truth. This is where epistemology comes in. Epistemology is the study of knowledge, how we know what we know, and how we distinguish truth from illusion. It's not just academic, it defines how societies function, how people decide what to believe, and ultimately, how we determine what is real. As we explore the philosophical roots of knowledge and how they're being reshaped in this new era, ask yourself, who benefits from controlling the narrative? And are we prepared to question what we've been told? Epistemology comes from the Greek words episteme, meaning knowledge, and logos, meaning study. It's the branch of philosophy that investigates the origin, nature, and scope of human knowledge. At its core, epistemology asks, what does it mean to know something? How can we tell the difference between true belief and false belief? What are the sources of reliable knowledge? Historically, different schools of thought have offered different answers. Empiricism emphasizes sensory experience and observation. Knowledge comes from what we can see, hear, touch, and test. Rationalism, on the other hand, trusts reason and logical deduction. Mathematics, for example, doesn't require sensory input. Skepticism challenges whether knowledge is even possible at all. What if everything we believe is subject to doubt? Constructivism argues that knowledge is constructed socially, shaped by language, culture, and perspective. In the modern era, we're overwhelmed by information, but that doesn't mean we're wise. In fact, the more information we have, the harder it becomes to know what's true. This is where epistemology meets crisis. In 2020, the World Economic Forum introduced the concept of the Great Reset, a proposed roadmap to redesign capitalism, governance, and global cooperation in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. The idea is to move away from shareholder capitalism toward a more inclusive, sustainable model. Its pillars include green energy and environmental sustainability, digital transformation, social equity and justice, and global public-private partnerships. But beyond these goals lies a larger epistemic shift. The Great Reset doesn't just seek to change policies, it seeks to change how we interpret reality. It's an attempt to reconfigure the world's mental map, to redefine progress, value, risk, and truth itself. If you control the definitions, you control the debates. And if you control the debates, you influence belief. Every society needs institutions to serve as epistemic authorities, sources we turn to for knowledge. These include science, education, journalism, and government. But in recent decades, and especially since 2020, these institutions have suffered a crisis of legitimacy. Public trust has plummeted. Science became politicized. News became sensationalized, education became polarized, and in the chaos we're left with a fragmented reality. Multiple truths competing for dominance. This breakdown of consensus leads to epistemic relativism, the idea that truth is relative and every perspective is equally valid. But if all truths are equal, then none can claim authority. Into this vacuum enters conspiracy theories, influencers posing as experts, AI-generated misinformation, and corporate-sponsored narratives. The danger isn't just misinformation, it's the erosion of our ability to know anything for sure. In the digital age, our perception of reality is increasingly shaped by algorithms. You don't see the world as it is, you see the world that your feed wants you to see, a world tailored to your emotions, your biases, your fears. Platforms like Google, Facebook, YouTube and TikTok act as de facto epistemic engines. They decide what information rises to the top, what gets buried, what gets fact-checked, and what gets demonetized or deleted. This is what some call epistemic engineering, the systemic shaping of knowledge environments by tech infrastructures. It's not always malicious, sometimes it's simply optimization. But the result is the same. Reality becomes personalized, fragmented, and ultimately controllable. Artificial intelligence now plays a role in deciding what's true enough to show you. But can a machine determine truth? Can an algorithm understand context, ethics, or meaning? Or are we automating our own illusions? Language shapes thought. When you redefine words, you redefine worlds. Terms like sustainability, equity, disinformation, and resilience all carry multiple meanings. And in a politically charged environment, these meanings are carefully crafted to signal alignment or silence dissent. This is called framing. It's not about lying, it's about selecting which truth to emphasize and which to ignore. And in the age of the Great Reset, framing becomes a powerful tool for ideological control. He who frames the narrative doesn't just win the debate, he shapes the reality in which the debate takes place. So where does this leave us? We can't go back to a world of simple, unquestioned truths, but we also can't live in a world where nothing is reliable. The answer isn't to reject institutions entirely, nor is it to blindly trust them. Instead, we must become epistemically self-aware. Ask deeper questions. Why do I believe what I believe? Who benefits from this narrative? What are the sources behind my information? In an age of resets and redefinitions, your mind is the final frontier, and epistemology is your compass. Because in the end, the real Great Reset is how you choose to know.